All right, to start, we're gonna do a new document, and then remember we're not printing this. So this is going to be screen-based, so we can either use web or mobile. I generally will use like an iPad Retina or an iPad Pro. You can see the resolution underneath. We're going to keep it at landscape, not portrait. Make sure you don't turn on facing pages because, again, we're not printing this, so there's no spine to have pages on each side of the gutter. And then deselect the text frame. It's like the first thing I delete when I go in, but if you just deselect it, it will not even show up. Your margins, you can keep them at 36 pixels, which is basically a ½ inch if we were printing it. And like I said, no need for bleeds or anything else. All right, so once you have that, hit create. All right, then you have your pages here. You're going to want to go up to Window, go down to Interactive, and hit Bookmarks. And then you're also going to want to go to Interactive and Button and Forms. All right. All right, so when you're creating the bookmarks, basically the bookmark is going to be the pages that you create. So page 1 is going to be your infographic. Page 2 will be the first page of you giving a some sort of answer to that question, or the quote rather. All right, so you can create to start your, might as well do 6, right? At minimum. And then when you add a bookmark, you need to make sure you're on the actual page. All right, as you can see, I'm just clicking once, but the number below it is highlighted. It isn't until you double click or you scroll and then click on the screen that it changes this. So when you create a bookmark, you need to make sure that this number is highlighted before, because even if you are viewing page 5 or page 6 and you create a bookmark, it's still going to go to page 1 because that is what's selected. All right, so once you have that selected in the bookmarks, you can create new bookmark and then page 1. Then you can double click this, new bookmark, page 2, and all the way through. And you can name it whatever you want. You don't have to name it, page 1, page 2, page 3. You can actually have page 1 be infographic, and then page 2 could be named, introduction to how a designer will save the world. Oops. And finally, page 6. All right, so now we have all of our bookmarks, and if you double click these, you can see them bounce around from all the different pages. All right, now I'm going to create the first button. Now again, the idea, or rather your understanding of what a type size is when it comes to print is out the door, all right? Because something set at 12 points is going to be entirely too small, all right? So I'm going to name this go to page 5. And then I'm going to make this 24 points. All right. When you create your buttons, if you leave this text box this size, this entire text box will be the button. All right. So you can either manually make this tighter, or you can have it go to your fitting and then go fit frame to content, and it will automatically push that in. There are times that you want to have a bigger clickable area. So what you can do is you can hit Command B that we had used a lot of time when we were like ignore text wrap and controlling the spacing within the text box itself. So right here, our vertical, we're going to hit center so it sits in the middle, and then we can hit center here. All right, so this way then, as we make this button a little bit smaller, we can create a bigger clickable surface area for that button if we wanted to. All right. All right. Then what else I wanted to do that just so this way we know what pages we're on. That's it. I think I accidentally. All right. Yeah, I did. Okay. So now when we create a button, we have this sitting here. We right click and then go to our interactive. Where is it? Right here. And then you have your convert to button. All right. So we're going to click this, and then it will pull up your buttons and forms. I would label your button names, especially if it becomes a little bit more complicated or a little bit more complex with a lot of different things going on. You're going to want to be able to know what buttons are what. All right. So I'm going to call it then you're going to click on your actions. All right, so we're going to hit the plus symbol, and then we're going to go to destination. That's what we want to do, go to page 5. What we can work with is only within these options here. All right, this here requires a plugin, and this here is really only for when you're working with forms. So we're going to go to destination, and then we're going to select which page we want to go to. These are the bookmarks that we had created, page 5. All right. So now we're going to go to export. We want to make sure we're selecting PDF interactive because a PDF print will not work. And then we're going to hit save, export. All right, and make sure you open it up in Acrobat. So now we click this, we now go to page 5. All right. So that's the simplest way of creating a button to jump around from page to page. All right. Now the other thing is we can show and hide different elements. I think this will be definitely useful when you want to provide the person with a little bit extra information, but you don't want to clutter your design. All right. So what you do is you create your image or your text box. And then we create another button. And then we need to make this also into a button. So then we go to interactive, convert to button, and we're going to name it square. Now, because I want this to be hidden and then only shown when this is clicked, there's an option right here that says hidden until triggered. So I'm going to select it. It will always show it to you on the actual screen. It doesn't hide it on you. All right. If you're designing and you have a bunch of these boxes that are going to be shown, and you really want to be able to design without having them in your way, if you hit Command 3 to hide it, just like in Illustrator, and you're working and everything, and then you export, that's hidden. It won't actually be part of the PDF document. So you need to make sure that you do have this viewable. So you can hide everything as you're working, and then at the very end, show and bring it back. or you can create another layer, design everything that's going to be hidden on that layer, hide it while you're finishing up your composition, and then once you're done and you're ready to export, you show that layer again, and then that works. All right. All right, so now this, we're going to create a button to show this square. We're going to hit actions and we're going to go to show and hide. So now when that shows, you can see there's an X through the different buttons that we currently have. If there's an X, that means nothing is happening to this particular button in the design. If we click once, it will have an eyeball, just like in Photoshop. So that means it would show it. If we click it again, there's a line through it. Now that says when this button is clicked, this will actually hide. Or show, I'm sorry, right now it will be hidden. All right. So we're going to have this click and show this, and this is hidden until triggered. All right. So we go to export. And we open up an Acrobat. You can see it's not there. You click, and there it is. All right. Now, you can also, let me close this. You can also have something, since this is already a button, you can then say, all right, I want this to be clickable and be hidden, right? So I now want to show and hide. I want to hide this when it's clicked. All right, so I can show it here and then hide it here. All right, so we show, hide. All right, so you could have this box here, you can have it with a text box, whatever information you have within that button itself, and then have the whole thing clickable to hide. If you want to have a show and hide button, you could have this button here. Let's see, do this, and then I want to change this. Convert to object, get it out of there. All right, so this is button 3. And this is going to be hide button. All right, so I want this to be directly on top of this. So what I want to do is when I click this, it's going to show, but then I want to have the hide square show up and hide the show square. All right, so this is clickable. So when this is clicked, I'm showing this, but then I also want to hide this. Now this, I want to be hidden until this is clicked. So this comes up with this. All right. So now I'm going to have this as go to show and hide. And then I'm going to hide the square. Then I'm going to then show the button and then hide the hide button. All right. So this is show while hiding and then show. And this is show this back and hide these two. All right. So I'm going to put this right on top of each other. And then export. All right, so we show, it brings us up. I can still hide it there. Show, hide. All right, so it's really, it's up to you how you want to build out your design and how interactive you want it to be intuitively, right? So if it's easier to just show the item, so say you have an icon or something that you want them to click more, they click it, they have the new piece that pops up, right? Like the blue, and then you could simply just have the blue hide, So this way it doesn't become cluttered. So let's say that you wanted a lot of different pieces I can bring forward to give more information. This is one way that you can do it. If you want to have that almost toggle switch, that would be the way that you would do it. All right. So hopefully this helps anyone. But yeah, have a great weekend, and I will see you all on Monday.